1-0 lead. They're looking fantastic in this series. Fnatic have got their work cut out, but the mind games came out while they were on B-side against Dynasty, so maybe they got something up their sleeves when it comes to this draft.
Yeah, well, we've seen these teams kind of adapting their draft strategies to what has been strong, and what's been working earlier today continues here with Glaive and Idris being the first bans. SK says, you know what, we'll just go right back to the way things were, grab that Grace as a first pick, although that does leave the Catherine as an option for Fnatic.
Another thing it leaves is they can pick Celeste and ban Blackfeather, which is another strategy we've seen teams do. It could, yeah, that's just what happened. And then now SK have to either ban Catherine or Lyra. Fnatic, if they wanted, they can pick one or the other, or they could still pick Cruel, who synergizes really well with Celeste, as we've mentioned before.
That's a tough choice now for SK. They have to decide what they feel like would synergize the most with that Celeste and take that off the board, or just what they feel like will counter whatever they have planned. Being right now on B-side, I think gives you a pretty sizable advantage when it comes to the kind of mind games aspect of the draft, just because you have that counter pick available. With the Catherine banned away, Fnatic I think should go for their captain here, or something that can be flexed just to kind of keep things open, and that's exactly what they do with this Lance. Can go down to Net2let, can go into Palmatoro's hands. You kind of assume it's going to be Net2let. Palmatoro doesn't have a large track record of playing this Lance, but the possibility is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is. They are going to lock that Lance in, and that's two forms of CC that they can now chain together as well for Fnatic. And now SK, they have a few decisions to make. Obviously, Grace, very versatile. You can fit it into the majority of compositions, so there are a few directions they can go.
I wonder if SK will go back to the Sky Weapon Power here. Sky Weapon Power or Jewel. These are the two other lane characters that they have been successful on this weekend, besides Idris and Celeste. So Sky Weapon Power would work great against Celeste and Lance because of how much early pressure she can output, and because she can dance around their skill shots.
Yeah, sure.
I would love to see that.
And it would be the second time that we see Kvalifar lock that in. There is going to be the Sky pick. We'll see whether it's going to be CP just yet, with the final pick coming on through as well. Because we saw a few Skies yesterday that we thought were going to be Weapon Power Skies and then ended up in a CP position. We'll see. Kvalifar was the one that did play at Weapon Power yesterday, though.
Yeah, and you got to figure they're going to lean that way because it can get onto the backlines. You can Surrey Strike over the top of everything and get onto the Celeste. You usually will end up seeing another dive type hero, but it's going to be the Batiste. So this is a little bit of the anti-mobility, kind of maybe a preemptive pick for whatever they think Fnatic might take as their final hero. Kroll would have, I think, been a big option, but you Kroll into Batiste is a matchup that can be fairly tough for the Kroll just because of how much CC is there.
I think what would synergize with Fnatic's comps the best is either Cruel, like you just mentioned, or Lyra still available and play Lance in the jungle. That would work amazingly if this was G2, but this is Fnatic, and I don't... Palmatoro is not a great jungle Lance, at least he hasn't played it much, so I don't quite expect it. So it might be the Cruel. Other than that, they don't have too many options since Glaive is already off the table.
It's obviously Blackfeather being taken off the board, and Glaive as well already strangles the Weapon Power jungle pool quite.
Something that they could do is go for Scarf jungle. Palmatoro plays that great. Play the double CP that you just played against with Celeste and Scarf. The only problem with that is that Sky would just be dancing all over the team fight, and you wouldn't be able to land anything on her.
There's also multiple ways that SK could stop a Dragon's Breath with their composition, so it would be a risky pick for sure. They could also just go completely off meta, but looks like they are gonna we're gonna have to wait a little bit
to not choose anything.
Yeah, it's there is a known issue with the draft client that can cause these kinds of issues, so hopefully we'll get their pick in shortly.
So apparently the pick is confirmed. It's going to be a Kestrel coming on through to
Kestrel.
round out the Fnatic composition. Interesting one there. Are we thinking that's going to be a Weapon Power Kestrel coming in?
If that's a Weapon Power Kestrel and lane and swapping the CP Kestrel or CP Celeste to the jungle, that would work well for holding off the aggression coming out from Sky, and would kind of even up the lane matchup.
Yeah, it would make things very, very interesting. I would expect it to actually be in the lane, because if you put it in the jungle, usually Kestrel in the jungle is a CP, and the way that this composition for SK Gaming works, it would be extremely difficult to get those active camo traps to be effective in a team fight, because they're not really going to be like all-in diving. The Sky is going to be kind of floating around the sides of the team fight a bit, and then obviously Batiste isn't going to be trying to chase onto you at all.
Yeah.
So I would expect this to be the weapon Kestrel in the lane, which is going to make a really fun matchup between the Kestrel and the Sky.
Yeah, I have to ask the question then, who's going to be the one on the front foot? Because once again, it feels like SK, they're the ones that are drafting these more aggressive compositions.
I do like SK's draft better. I think they can output more aggression early on and try to get a lead from it, but Fnatic's composition can get rolling later on because you have so much longer range when it comes to your team fighting advantage. If they use that and use the lance to just peel away the carries, it could work for them.
All right, well, it's time to get on into this game. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know whether you think Fnatic can pull themselves back into this series or if SK is going to 2-0 the first week of this Vainglory8. It's time to get into the finals. It's time to pass it to Dowsy and the Source.
No, it's...
Wow, this is going to be an interesting game here, Source. We're looking at the players. Palmatoro on weapon power Kestrel in the jungle, it seems. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I was like, oh, is that going to be CP? Is that going to be weapon? And then they swap it up, and I figured that would end up being in the lane. So, Techno JJ going to be able to continue to play the Celeste, and instant invasion from the side of SK. They should be able to steal this one away, and they're just not going to let up on the aggression. It's like game one never ended.
Yeah, no, I like this as well. Net2Let immediately moving into the backs here because he knows that SK are likely to try and take away this middle treant. Means he should be able to secure the 2 back camps. He does. Gonna get these doubles. That's a lot of gold stolen away from Tyros, 162, and that scout trap basically gonna tell Tyros it's gone. He gets the bad news that his backs were stolen, and it means that that 1 camp stolen by SK really means nothing.
Yeah, the just that steal away isn't going to give them a whole lot, and then they also sent both of their members up into the lane, so they're not spending that much time in the jungle. That's a huge combo.
Wow, first blood goes over to Techno JJ, and this is scary times for Kavalifar. Made weapon power Sky work nicely in yesterday's matchups. There's a lot of CC available to this composition. It's going to be Techno JJ in trouble. Tyra's moving in, gets his Reap pack working, but not enough damage to take down Techno JJ. Able to save himself with that healing flask. Now Fnatic 1-0 up.
Yeah, and now Kavalifar, a little bit behind the lane. Does have a big wave to farm up. Should be able to take his time with that one. Actually stall things out a little bit, which is going to make it so that Net2Let needs to be careful about stepping too far forward. And there is that kind of balance you want to have within the lane between where you're stalling it and when you're actually being pushed under the tower and being pressured. This is a Celeste. Techno JJ will be able to push the wave as fast as he wants.
Stun combo onto Palmatoro there was beautiful by Hegman. Sets up nicely as soon as Palmatoro walks into the Ordained Wars. SK able to steal away the backs, get some revenge. Net2Let gonna move on in, looking for a treant for himself, but he has to be careful. I don't think he can commit to too much else because a very quick recall came out of Tyros and Hegman, and they're gonna spot up Net2Let, I think. Can he steal anything? Looks like he'll get both of them. Another 180 gold stolen away from Tyros, and just equalizing the gold taken.
Yeah, actually give them a little bit of advantage. It's only 200, but that 200 feels good for Fnatic, and they've come out with a bang. It looked like SK was going to keep up the aggression they had from last game, but Fnatic answered back with the first blood, and now it's going to be a question as to how far SK is willing to dive into enemy territory. Yes, Tyrus is there. Yes, he's positioning to put pressure onto Techno JJ, but doesn't manage to connect to anything, and now you have to wonder whether or not SK is going to get a little over-eager because they feel they can make these plays happen.
Man, this is very interesting at the moment. Kavalifar just about escapes the clutches of Net2Let, but Palmatoro walks on in and throws a glimmer shot his way. Palmatoro on this weapon power Kestrel in the jungle is going to struggle to get to 4 damage items and be super impactful, very different to being in the lane where all the gold income is. Of course, Techno JJ, his Celeste is just so good, almost unstoppable, and I guess for the side of Fnatic, it's Palmatoro is just kind of providing artillery from the backline.
Ooh, nice getting in wall to disengage that fight, but it's not over yet.
No, it's not. Hegman's in trouble here, and it is going to be Palma looking for the kill. Auto attacks going out. Kavalifar just escapes. Hegman able to escape as well. They are going to push the lane in as quickly as possible and perhaps look to try and get as much damage onto this turret as they can. Tyra is going to have to really do a huge amount of work here if he's going to be able to stop it. Looks like the fact they weren't able to stun up Tyra's is enough for Fnatic to consider to leave the lane, and it isn't going to be a turret take just yet.
Yeah, Fnatic and SK have both been willing to battle hard in this lane. I am a little concerned as the game goes on whether or not Fnatic is going to be able to handle kind of, just hard engagement pressure and just how well Hegman has been on this Grace to get onto the back line. Instantly goes on the benediction, gets behind Techno JJ and sets up the Holy Nova. Yes, it's been disengaged a few times, but eventually one of those is going to connect. If that's followed up by an Ordain, if Cavalifar is dealing significant damage, there isn't a huge front line to be able to defend the side of Fnatic and be able to keep those carries alive. And on the other side, Fnatic's real core strategy seems to be based around land the poke, get the siege going, and then force Tyrus to go a little too far forward, because for the moment, this is not a particularly tanky Batiste.
Another Impale on land onto Cavalifar, but it's instant aggression coming out of SK. Netalet, can he survive is the question. Fearsome Shade comes out. Oh, the fountain last second keeps him alive. That's going to be Fnatic surviving the initial aggression from SK. Tyra is forced away from the lane. Netalet looking for another Impale. Doesn't connect this time. Cavalifar going to be safe for now, but very much missed opportunity by SK, just out of arm's reach. And unless they can get onto him now, it's going to be everyone walking away. Techno stunned. Techno surely dead. Goes down eventually to Cavalifar. And Netalet, I think this time, is dead. Palmatoro tries to snipe from the side. Hegman blocks it, and a double kill goes over to Cavalifar. Palmatoro won't be able to find any return here. Everyone has escaped. SK with 2.
SK sneak behind enemy lines and get away with murder. They're able to pick up those 2 kills in between the turrets, and that was a solid engagement out of Hegman. That's exactly what I was talking about. Now, they did manage to have the Ordain down onto Techno JJ, which put additional pressure onto him. He had to continue to back up, and it's very difficult to stay within that space. The Ordain, just the size of that ability is very, very small, and you have to wonder which one of those CCs are you more concerned about. And I would say that, he was going to get hit by one of them. He made the best of a bad situation, but it did result in a little bit of a gold advantage going over to the side of SK. Momentum in their favor. They've gotten some kills. Maybe as things go on. Actually, that's a Shatterglass finish by Tyrus. They want to fight.
Yeah, they're looking for the fight for sure. Tyra's a little bit slow getting this tier 3 item, but Shatterglass, very expensive item to invest into when you are in the jungle. Eve of Harvest now finished for Techno JJ. 2 items peaked for him. Cavalifar on this Sky kind of this counter to Celeste when she's in a CP format. I wonder how much it's going to really be effective on the weapon power, because I think the reason she's so good to Celeste generally in CP is that she does damage from range, but she also has high mobility to kind of get away from the Helogenesis. As with weapon power, you're a little bit closer. You rely on your auto attacks. Very different dynamic for Cavalifar to deal with.
Yeah, I think Tyrus is looking for that burst. It's a couple of squishy characters. They want to supplement the fact that Cavalifar damage
connects,
mostly for time.
Storm. Wow, Hegman dives on in, takes the majority of that Solar Storm damage. Tyra's gonna get a healing. The Fearsome Shade dodged completely by Fnatic. Almost felt like the Fearsome Shade didn't do anything. Wow, another tap from above. Cavalifar just keeps himself alive. Fnatic instantly split to avoid it. SK walking a thin line. Netalet very low, but has the Fountain and the Healing Flask. Should be fine.
Yeah, and neither side is able to finish off any of these engagements, despite there being a good Impale. The Cloak Blast was just a half second too late because the Death Knell above had come out. Every time that Hegman decides to go in, there's just a little bit more crowd control, a Githian wall to push him away. So, with the exception of that one dive in between the towers, both of these teams are, they're trading punches back and forth, but nobody seems to be able to land a connecting hit right now.
Another Impale coming out of Netalet. This time not connecting, but Techno JJ. Look at that. Level 8 Helogenesis. Now in a very good state for Fnatic, and this is where Tyras, I think, will really struggle to actually have huge impact in this game. Batiste into Celeste, very difficult to due to the rain. Hegman trying his best to find an engage for his team, but not able to do so, and Tyra's once more going to be left out, far away from the battle, taking this poke consistently from Palmator and TechnoJJ. Impale connects, Kavalava surely dead, Hegman engages, meaning the fountain is late, the Divine Intervention didn't come through, and now it's Tyra's in trouble. Just about escapes, Divine Intervention goes out, but Hegman's going to get impaled on up. One shot won't connect. Fnatic though, almost taking out Tyra's here. The Supernovas onto him, doing so much work, and they're going to look to try and take this turret, it seems. I don't think it's going to take too long for TechnoJJ and Palmator to whittle through it. All just relies on them dodging out damage from Hegman. Ooh, and Palmator almost loses his life in the process.
Yeah, Palmator kind of playing with fire, sticking around. Looked like they might have been able to find an engagement or two, but you know, they've missed the last two one-shot, one-kills, neither of those skills connecting, so it doesn't really break open the structures for the side of Fnatic. They weren't able to finish anything off, and now Kavalifar doing a good job of putting that counter pressure down, so the lane basically being equaled out. Yes, there was that one kill, but pretty much an even game.
Very even. 20,000 gold. 0.1 for both of these teams. Neck and neck at the moment. Kavalifar breaking point now picked up on this weapon power Sky. Getting that attack speed to really ramp up damage. Have to see where else he goes. Went for crit, so he could heavily get that breaking point stacked on up with the Sorrow Blade doing a lot of damage to his targets. Hegman looking for another re-engage here because of the Fearsome Shade. Nettolet going to be stuck in an Ordain, taking damage but able to walk away fairly safely, losing a lot of health. Healing Fast won't be available where the fountain is. TechnoJJ sitting on half HP is also a little bit scary. Hegman going to go back on in, but there's a wall of Helogenesis to walk through. SK not wanting to risk their lives to do so. Look at that. Divine Intervention comes through. Hegman going to get hit by a one-shot. Now Kavalifar needing that fountain to stick on into the lane. It's all on TechnoJJ right now with the Helogenesis spam coming on through. Palmator in trouble. Loses a lot of his health, but the fountain keeps him alive. Kavalifar now going to be re-engaged on. Walks into the impale, and that's the kill going over to Palmator. Tyras comes over next. Hegman should escape, but Fnatic open up the opportunity to take a turret.
SK were so close to being able to find that engagement. They'd gotten the poke continuously. They'd gotten through a lot of the health bars of Fnatic, but Nettolet was holding onto that fountain, waiting for the moment that they would finally be able to actually get in there for the side of SK, and the moment that they do, they're able to bait Kavalifar forward, try to dive through the team, be able to put that pressure on the backside of the team fight, almost managed to get Nettolet, but didn't manage to finish the job, and, you know, just it's only a matter of time at this point before TechnoJJ reaches that terrifying point on Sky. He's got 3 of those 4 items, is still sitting on that armor in hand, hasn't built the clockwork just yet, but it should be coming up soon, and I think that this gold miner fight is gonna spell disaster for SK.
Yeah, no, SK did a fairly good thing whilst the replay was playing. They stopped Fnatic from taking the gold miner, reset its health bar, but now they're looking to try and take it themselves, and Fnatic are pretty much prepped, ready to steal it. Hegman diving on in, Kavalifar trying to provide range. The gold miner's not in a position that it can be bursted by SK. They rely on Tyras to do so, but they're able to secure it. One shot helping out. Now Fnatic going to move on forward. Nettolet the main target. Palmator in trouble as well. Fearsome Shade gets blocked. Is going to keep everyone alive, but Palma goes down nonetheless. And Hegman diving very deep forward is going to get impaled and take a bit of damage from the Crystal Sentry, but it's enough for SK to now move back to the lane, and they may even get the opportunity to take this turret.
Yeah, and for the last 5 minutes, it's been SK looking for a fight and Fnatic being unwilling to oblige them, but this is the first time we've had them fighting over an objective that Fnatic wanted just as badly. So Fnatic finally showed up to the fight. Tyras is able to get in position for all of these engagements, which has really been his problem. He hasn't been able to land that Ordain onto a target. And in the earlier portion of the game, they were willing to put that damage down on Nettolet. They were willing to throw out what they had and get him fairly low, put him in a position where he had to play a much more careful version of Lance, and Lances never want to be careful. They want to be able to dive into the backline, land the Githian walls, get the roots down. And so that on its own has just made it difficult for SK to find the fight, and now they finally are able to get one. They managed to get the turret, and they're starting to open up the map for themselves. Hegman with a nice juke.
Yeah, but Frostburn stacking up. Hegman in a bit of trouble. 3 broken myth stacks, 4 onto TechnoJJ, and means there's no way SK can re-engage. There's one thing we haven't really talked too much about in this game for Fnatic is the fact that Palmatoro on this weapon power Kestrel is just not at a position that you need a weapon power Kestrel to be at. Impale onto Cavalifar could spell disaster, but he has high mobility, which should be able to escape. Only 2 damage items. Realistically, at this stage, when you play weapon power Kestrel in the lane, you can have all 4 ready and available. So Palmatoro's not really outputting that much damage. SK looking to try and execute. Tyra's in a lot of trouble, but oh my gosh, the 50% shade shuts Techno JJ down, and now Cavalifar moving forward, looking for more. Has 13, 14, 15 breaking point stacks. Wasn't quite able to get the 15th. I may have lied there, but it's a lot that he's getting in a very short period of time. And if they take out Techno JJ, Palmatoro, like mentioned, just doesn't have damage to deal with the side of SK, and SK are free to do what they want.
Yeah, he's pretty much down 1 major damage dealing item. The Crystal Sentry will fall. Cavalifar will steal away the bat camp as well. There's a little bit of damage over the wall to keep Netelet on his toes. And, ooh, nice steal away by Palmatoro. So, little bit of a reprieve just to get one of those camps back, but the items are starting to come in. Cavalifar is working on that tornado trigger. He's going to crank up that attack speed and crit even further. We've got Tyra's looking at a broken myth very soon, has the clockwork in hand, actually just finished the Aegis, so he's getting a little bit more defense, wants to survive Techno JJ's burst for a little bit longer. And Techno JJ is getting towards that, power point in terms of damage. But just the fact that Palmatoro is so far behind, I think, is really costing Fnatic over the course of these team fights.
And it's also helping out SK because they don't have to invest in armor desperately. They can get their Aegises and then go offensive and get them closer to their damage output spaces they want to be. Tyrus takes a little bit of damage. Hegman going to engage deep. Able to walk away. No, maybe not. Lots of damage onto him. It's a fearsome shade used by Tyrus to get him out alive so they can hold on to that fountain, hold on to the divine intervention. Hegman also has the gold, I think, to finish an Echo. That's a pretty big power spike for SK, and definitely something that SK want to have online before their next team fight starts. Meiji just a little bit off getting it. Very close nonetheless. Should have it in the next minute or so if you can get some ambient gold into his system.
Yeah, and Palmatoro needs that raw damage, needs that burst, needs that crit. So we know that there won't be a Poison Shiv coming out anytime soon. Grace will be able to get full value off of the double Divine Intervention, which just hasn't been the case in a lot of the games that we've seen. This then means that Techno JJ needs to get the burst down, otherwise people are going to survive. And we've seen Tyrus survive way too many times, managing to get the Ordained down. This could be a huge fight.
Huge burst coming through. Look at Cavalifar on the back line. Techno JJ, he survived somehow, but he's surely dead. Goes down to Cavalifar and Netelet, almost following the damage, the breaking point up to 16. Cavalifar a monster on this weapon power Sky, and that's a turret that's going to fall so quickly. 23 seconds on Techno JJ. They're going to look to take a crack in you, Phil.
Yeah, they have the space and the ability to do so. Cavalifar is dishing out the damage. Should probably look to finish the Tornado Trigger before they do anything else, and actually wants to take the Crystal Sentry off the board, or at least do a little bit of damage to it. I don't know if they want to stick around that much longer. The members of Fnatic are starting to come back up, and if Netelet can defend this, it would be dangerous to be on that portion of the jungle. They will back away. But SK are starting to pick up the pace in this game, getting the damage in there. The Tornado Trigger is finished for Cavalifar, and it's picking up more crit, either double Tyrant's, or probably a Tyrant Monocle. I thought he had one. I was like, double Tyrant's Monocle. It'll be great.
Palmatoro looks like he's going towards the Tornado Trigger of his own. Once he gets that Tornado Trigger, then the armor will have to come through. Tyrus already has a tier 1 on his side. The light shielding. Cavalifar does get impaled here. But look at that. Hegman and Tyrus just diving straight onto the backline. Means Netelet can't go forward any further. SK in a very interesting position. If they get onto the backline, Cavalifar is allowed to rip through on this weapon power Sky. It's seemingly being a problem for Techno JJ to deal with. He's got the reflex block, meaning he can't go into armor, which means this crit is just tearing through his health bar. Definitely working out for Cavalifar so far. How SK decide to approach his Tyro's healing up with his passive. Also the Divine Intervention, there's 2 of them now. And the Fountain ready to go for the side of SK. The one shot this time connecting onto Cavalifar. I think SK may just take a break before the next fight starts. So Impale connects, Hegman manages to go back, but this is terrible for SK, not what they want. able to just about escape the Solar Storm, but a moment, I think Fnatic to start up this Kraken and bait another fight.
Yeah, never back in the lane, never back in vision, never back while looking at the shot. That almost was terrifying for Hegman. And now that Fnatic has started up this Kraken, they're doing it very, very quickly. The steal is going to have to come in from Hegman. He's going to need to get the CC down. The Valvar's coming in.
This goes over to the side of Fnatic, but the fearsome shade, Palmatoro almost losing his life. It's Kavalafa solo him through. Divine Defense keeping him alive, but he gets bursted down. Gippian War, and now Tyra's one shot connecting. This is terrifying for SK. They froze their lead, and Fnatic with a double kill. A Kraken gonna start to try and turn this around.
Disaster has struck. It looked like Kavalfar was going to be able to solo through the enemy team. He was leading the charge for SK, but it fell short once they got too close to that Crystal Sentry. Too much damage came in, and now with this Kraken, they should get at least the 2 turrets, maybe a 3rd. They could maybe even consider going for some of those Crystal turrets. They may be willing to back up, take away the Crystal Sentry from the side of SK, consider pulling back. No, they want to go for it.
Yeah. I have to see if they decide to commit. Palmatoro going to get some healing from the tree, and Tyra's able to get straight onto 10 of JJ. He is dead! He's completely taken out. Now Palmatoro has to stay alive. It's going to be Hegman charging him forward whilst Kavalfa looks to take down Net2Let. Palmatoro struggling to survive against Tyra's, and he falls, and that's the ace coming through for SK. They still have a Kraken to deal with. It will be one Vayne Crystal turret going down, but SK wins the fight.
Yeah, that's a pretty key fight for them just in terms of finishing out some of their items. Doesn't really give them that much position. Looks like Fnatic would have been willing to back up. They lose the 1 turret, but I think that might have been inevitable. Maybe the fight goes a little bit better for SK. They pick up those kills a little bit faster. Don't need to chase as far. We'll get to look at this one more time, though. So as the members of Fnatic go further in there, the fact that Palmatoro was split from the team, yes, they didn't necessarily know that, but then Tyrus instantly comes in, gets the Ordain, gets the Bad Mojo down, and just so much initial damage. The Fearsome Shade forces Palmatoro out, and they're able to just split up and finish the job. And Net2Let's not going to get away from Kavalfar, and the other 2 are able to chase down instantly onto Palmatoro. Now, SK, they've made back up that slight gold lead, but really it was about clearing out the positioning, and now they can set up to either gank out of a brush or maybe catch somebody in rotation.
The one thing you have to remember in Vainglory, the hardest place to fight is in someone else's base because it's so open. No walls, no obstacles when you fight in that big open area, and that's what allowed Tyras to flank on in. Net2Let, he's trying to stop them from going back. It looks like it's just Fnatic doing a desperation play. They did this yesterday against Mouse, sorry, but Net2Let loses his life.
I don't think this is going to work.
From Fnatic, Hegman's already back. They have to turn back. This is disastrous for Fnatic. A desperation play gone wrong indeed, and Fnatic going to lose their lives. This could just be the end of the series. If SK can move on in, death time is at 50 seconds. The Kraken, she hasn't quite spawned, but here she comes. Up the pit she goes, and SK gonna look to try and take it.
A shot calling disaster of the highest caliber. They didn't need to do that. Fnatic easily could have played this slower. They could have looked for that fight. And yes, Net2Let looked to stop them, looked to stop those backs. But even if you have those 2 characters doing significant damage, yes, Palmatoro's finally caught up on his Kestrel. Yes, it's Celeste. She does massive damage to pretty much everything in the game at this point. You have to think about the fact that Kavalfar is outputting huge amounts of damage. Net2Let isn't going to last that long. Even if Kavalfar was the only one to sit there and deal with them, at minimum, the 2 other members of SK are going to be able to back and are going to be able to defend that play. So I don't know why Fnatic, felt that pressured to make such a heavy play, and it might have just cost them the finals in week 1.
Man, this is, as Fnatic's analyst Keygaza said on Twitter, a desperation tactic that didn't work out in the end. His words against Mouse in the game that they lost, that was exactly what he had to say about it. Seems like it's another desperation tactic that didn't work in the end, but Fnatic, how desperate could they be? It seemed like they were in a position where they could win this game all of a sudden. Now SK moving in with this crack. And look at Palmatoro struggling to survive. Cavalifar though needs that divine intervention and he will get it. The fountain comes out as well to keep him nice and healthy. And now it's SK moving on to these Vein Crystal turrets. Techno JJ needs to do some work here. Hegman just buying distance so Cavalifar can survive, but he's so low, needs to be so careful. Another divine intervention comes out, but Tyrus will lose his life on the back end. If SK lose their lives, this could be GG here. The Kraken cannot take the Vein Crystal down. Oh my goodness. It looks like that counter base race is on, and Fnatic gonna move down the lane to try and finish this game for themselves.
I think Fnatic have got this. I don't think that there's enough time. You can send Netelet in to tank up the turret. You've got more than enough damage to Techno JJ and Palmatora, and despite Fnatic throwing this game back to SK overcommit on the dive, I think that Cavalifar was just a little out of position. He was looking to try and find the damage, but was forced to kite around the bottom side of the Vein Crystal, and this looks to be Fnatic about to win this. I don't think Hegman has enough crowd control to finish it. He doesn't.
It doesn't. It's the attack speed slow coming out, but it just doesn't do anything. Incredible that despite a significant error coming out of Fnatic, they managed to turn this back around. Desperation tactics not needed. They managed to win out in the end. Our series tied up 1 apiece. We're going to a game 3.
That was just... I don't even know. I have no words. Take it to the desk. I've got no